Well, happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday, December the 3rd, the 338th day of the year. There are 28 days left in the year 2024, and welcome to another edition of Tuesdays with Tom. I'm sure many of you were glued to your television sets this past weekend with all the promotion the talking heads were doing about this upcoming playoff that the colleges will have. And about rivalry weekend. And that you would think rivalry weekend was the only thing going on in the world this past weekend. In most cases, the favorite teams won, some convincingly. My alma mater, Auburn University, continues its struggles of the past few years. Sometimes the hump is just too much to get over. Perhaps things will look up next year, but one thing has been proven in college football: you have to have a multi-purpose quarterback. And when you don't, in most cases, you can't manufacture one. Either he has it or he doesn't. You can't make a runner out of a non-runner. You can't make a good athlete out of a non-athlete. The past 2 years have made that point for me. Also, you can't be stubborn about it, continuing to do the same thing over and over and over again. I think this year proved it doesn't work. Our G-List guest today is Quincy Redmon. Quincy is here today to tell us about his blanket and sock drive program. Quincy says he started this 6 years ago. It was a mission that has been with him that will be with him for a lifetime. He says one day, standing outside a Sheetz, Sheetz, in Harrisburg, Virginia, his life was changed forever. He grew up homeless, living from shelter to shelter. He told his mom one day, he said he was cold and hungry, and she let him know that they didn't have any money or any place to go. A man overheard them and came back with a pack of cold hot dogs. He says he ate them, and at that moment he made a promise to himself that when he was able, he would give back. We look forward to having that conversation today with Quincy Redmon. Our show today, of course, is brought to you by the Best Girl Consulting Firm, so let's hear from Best Girl.
Best Girl is a consulting firm that provides customized leadership, access and inclusion, public relations, communications, and organizational consulting services. Clients include Fortune 500 companies, utilities, higher education institutions, small businesses, and associations. Best Girl's team of consultants, led by Joyce Gilly-Gossam, Emily Hedrick, and Sean Jones, partners with business and education clients to promote organizational effectiveness, communication, motivation, and leadership, with always an impact on the bottom line. Best Girl's customized consulting services include strategic planning, corporate communication, executive coaching, fundraising, and economic development.
Best Girl customizes the solution that fits your needs. So let's go to our roundtable regulars and talk with Barbara Wallace Edwards and Michael Walker. Good morning, Michael Walker. How are you this morning?
Good morning, TG. I'm doing well. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How was your Thanksgiving weekend?
It was fairly low key. I took a page out of your book. I went to see a movie over the holidays. First one I've been to in a long time. I went to see Gladiator 2 with Denzel Washington.
Okay. Denzel, yeah, he's been putting out a lot of comments lately about some of the trials and tribulations he had growing up. So
Yeah.
good deal. I'll have to. I haven't checked that one out, but I'm looking forward to the holidays to see some good movies.
Yes. Yeah. So it was a pretty interesting movie. It's a sequel to Gladiator 1, or the first Gladiator movie. So
Okay.
there's a little storyline in it. And you mentioned in your opening about rivalry weekend this past weekend and stuff. For the first time that I can recall in a long time, there were a lot of fights on the field in different games.
I know. What's going on?
Well, I guess it seems to be something that's kind of started up now. Is that, and the first one that broke out was the Ohio State Michigan game. And when Michigan upset Ohio State 13-10, the Michigan players went and got a Michigan flag, and they were trying to plant it on the logo. And the Ohio State team had headed to the locker room, and then they turned around and saw what Michigan was doing, and it was all out brawl. And to my understanding, they had to have the security come down, and they used pepper spray in order to try to break up the fight
Wow.
on the players. Yes. And then after they got it calmed down, and it's just like somebody, people you and I probably grew up with, another Michigan player got the flag and started running between all the Ohio State players with the Michigan flag. So the fight broke out again.
That's funny.
You
It's
know?
interesting because I can go back to my day, and we used to have a fight almost we fought against Georgia every year. We would have a fight with Georgia.
Well, I understand that. That's not a surprise.
And it just was different. That we had some guys. I remember one of the guys on our team. We had a big fight, and then he came back over. They broke the fight up, and he came back over to coach. He said, "Coach, we ready to play now." So after we had to have a fight before we were ready to play.
I hear you, man. I hear you.
I think the other thing that bothers me a little bit, and that's just maybe because I'm old fashioned. They call it the Iron Bowl, but it was the Iron Bowl because it was in Birmingham, and Birmingham was a steel and iron city. And they continue to call it the Iron Bowl, but I just call it a big rivalry game because it's not the Iron Bowl to me. What
Well, I
else you
understand.
got, Michael?
Well, this is the season of scams now, and there are a lot of things that's going on, and it's real interesting what's happening. I've got one story that's not really a scam, but it's kind of heartbreaking. But I'll tell you about the scams first, so people can be on the lookout. You know, where you go in to park sometime, and it's a parking lot with no attendant, and you're supposed to go and pay with your phone and stuff. They've got that going. Well, now what the scammers have done is they've here in Atlanta, they've been going out giving out fake tickets, fake parking tickets, and taking a barcode and putting up at the place where you go and maybe stick your money in or go to read and punch in your license plate, put a barcode up there, and then you're supposed to pay that parking ticket for parking illegally on your phone through PayPal or Google, and it's all a scam. Everything is fake. The parking lots, they don't use a barcode for doing that. So that's one thing for everybody to be on the lookout for, getting some scam parking tickets. And this other one was a elderly lady that was convinced that she was an FBI asset. She got a phone call from you laugh, but it was very
That's funny. Go ahead.
she got a call from somebody posing to be with the Metropolitan Police, saying that her Social Security had been leaked with some illegal activity involving drug smuggling with fentanyl-laced drugs and what have you. And that even though she was not a part of it, her Social Security is linked to it. And they needed to get her information and needed to have her talk to different people. So each person, she'd move up to the state, then to the FBI. They sent her documentation using the symbol and all that type of stuff, and said, in order to fix this, would you be an FBI asset to help us? And you can speak on behalf. And she agreed and ended up getting swindled out of most of her life savings, thinking she was an FBI asset. So that's another one going on. And this one happens to be a true story. There's an 85-year-old lady in Texas who's a nurse, and she had gone to a bank to try to get a loan modification. And the bank evidently told her, yes, she could have a loan modification, but it was in oral format. It wasn't written. And during this time where she's thinking she has a loan modification, the bank foreclosed on her 6-bedroom home, in which she has over $400,000 worth of equity in it. And she got a lawyer and was trying to, get to the bottom of it. And they just said, well, they just denied it and said, well, we have nothing in writing. So that's where she was trusting the person she was speaking with at the bank to do a loan modification in a verbal agreement. And now they have foreclosed on her home, and she's trying to keep from becoming homeless. And this lady has lived in this house for over 20 years. It's a 6-bedroom house in a very stylish area. That's what banks will do for you.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because I don't know, man, if you guys get them, but I get at least 5, 6, maybe 10 calls and emails a day, just telling me that we've approved your credit and you can do this and you can do that and so on and so forth. I hadn't applied for any credit, so they want you to respond to them, because once you respond to them, then they can get you talking and get you going, And the other thing they do now is if they call me, and then if I start to tell them, hey, look, this, then they just keep talking, so I just hang up, Both of us can't talk at the same time. You learn that as a child,
Right. Absolutely.
Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah. Well, here's another one for you. You know about solar panels and how people are using solar panels to cut down on electrical costs and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Well, one couple in California had solar panels on their homes and what have you. And they got a notice from Liberty Mutual, their homeowners insurance, telling them that they were going to non-renew their home insurance because of defects to the roof, because it had moss growing on it and algae and had these holes in it. And they explained, these are our solar panels. What they did was they used a drone, and this is what insurance companies are doing now, using technology to manage their processes and claims and what have you. So they flew a drone over the house to take aerial pictures. And so the drone couldn't differentiate between the solar panels and a defective roof. So they are now fighting because they're in California, in an area where insurance rates are already high, and they have been told that they will not have their homeowners insurance renewed because of the problems in their roof, when there aren't any problems. So they're now trying to fight that. So just a word to the wise, be careful what you do nowadays.
You have to be careful. We got one because there was some rust on the water knobs, water faucets that went to the washing machine. And I mean, it was just a little bit you couldn't hardly see the rust. And we had to go hire somebody to get that cleaned up and then send it to the insurance company. And then they told us we were okay. I mean, it was kind of crazy, and it was pretty minimal, Hell, I didn't even know, it had any rust on it till they told me. And it's like, okay, well, we'll get that straightened out. So
how did they know? How did they know there was rust there? Your insurance
company? They came out when we signed up. It's a new insurance company. So when we signed up, in Florida,
inspection. Yeah.
They did an inspection, So
wow.
Anyway, let's get Barbara on here. Hey, Barbara, how are you?
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you all doing? I'm doing good.
Doing well.
Fine. Good to see you. How was your Thanksgiving weekend?
Thanksgiving was great, Tom. It was busy as usual. I made the second trip in a week down to Mobile and back. My sister hosted all the family members from the Wallace side of the family in Mobile for Thanksgiving, and we had over 100 people there. Wow. So it was good to see a lot of family members that I had not seen in quite some time. So she was a trooper for hosting that. She and another cousin.
In her house?
No, not at her house. She actually reserved a banquet room for the event. So it was great. We had a wonderful time. Too much food, but we had a really good time. And then I rushed back to Birmingham. Went to a game watch party hosted by my dear friend Sheila Johnson and Will Moore. Big Alabama fans, but I felt obligated to go and watch the game with them, and I did. I lasted for about half the game, and had to leave to go visit some other family members who were in town here in Birmingham, visiting from Philadelphia. So it was a really busy weekend. Church on Sunday, and I rested yesterday. I was exhausted after all that.
They were from Philadelphia, Mississippi?
No, they were from Pennsylvania. From Pennsylvania. Yeah, they flew in from
Philadelphia.
The other Philadelphia, yes.
Okay.
My nephew and his family were in town, so got a chance to see them.
Okay. Kathy wants to know if Quincy has been on yet. No, he'll be on here shortly, though. Hang on, he'll be on. Okay, Barbara, what else you got? Good morning, Mr. Crump. I hope you're doing well. Go ahead, Barbara.
Yeah, Michael was talking about an incident that happened. I want to bring up something. This Chicago area woman said she had paid her property taxes for over a decade, but somehow her home was sold for not paying her taxes. So it was sold at an auction, and it all came down to a clerical error. She initially, she said when she moved into her home, and they sent her a letter saying that her taxes had not been paid, her property taxes hadn't been paid. She went in and she found out that they'd actually mixed up her and her neighbor's number. And so they supposedly corrected that. She didn't receive any more letters after that. She continued to pay her taxes every year as she was supposed to. All of a sudden, she received a letter saying that her home had been sold and she owed the new purchaser rent for her for staying in her own home. So she ended up having to get an attorney to resolve this issue. And it doesn't say, but it doesn't sound like the county took any responsibility for the error that they made. And it looks like she had to pay the attorney out of her pocket. I think I would be suing someone for that, because that's just unbelievable. But yeah, those kind of things happen, but that is really strange.
Yeah, it is.
You know, what kills me is how these companies and municipalities in this case, and everybody, they will not accept any culpability for any mistakes that they make.
Right.
And when they outright make a mistake that negatively impacts the client or their customer, they have a don't care attitude.
Right.
And like you said, in this situation, she has to go and hire a lawyer, pay all this just to prove that she's right. The burden of proof is on them instead of them going back to double check. And
absolutely,
it just where they got a number mixed up. You would think that somebody at that municipality could have found that mistake.
And like I said, they found it. She went to talk with them. They recognized it. They agreed they made a mistake. They fixed it that one time, they thought, but someone didn't fix it throughout the system.
See, the first few times she talked to him, she probably was talking to a damn computer.
Probably. You're probably right.
You know?
Right. Which don't understand everything.
4 phone calls before you get to a human being.
Right. Yeah. We've talked about that before. Customer service is terrible these days, especially with some of the city municipalities, especially in county. It's hard to talk to an individual. You get recordings all of the time.
And then
that's where AI is taking over, and they're doing a lot more. Everything you do is, hi, I'm there. You want to chat? You know,
right. No, I don't want to chat with you. I want to talk to a person.
Yes.
That's what I'd say. I want to talk to a human being.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the world we're living in.
It is.
What else you guys got? Anything else?
Speaking about that, Barbara, I heard where they have been trying out a computer in Major League Baseball in the AA's and AAA's and stuff.
To do
and
what?
They're looking at bringing them on for the major games and stuff to get rid of the human error. Now,
Yeah.
can you just imagine what that's going to be like?
Oh no.
You know,
A lot of computer error.
I agree, because you know you got the video replay in football, and some of those things are I mean, you never would have had the issue if you didn't have the video.
Right.
It just would have been out of bounds, or it just would have been a completion or what have you. And yeah, I don't know if that's going to, we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't know. I just think human error is the best way to go.
I agree.
Well, at least in that case, if there's a human error with the video replay, they got an opportunity to fix it.
Right.
I don't know that you're going to have an opportunity to fix it if it's a computer error.
Computer.
So is the computer going to call balls and strikes? Is that what they're saying? Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
my
what they're
goodness.
saying.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can't you just see a player getting mad and taking the bat and hitting the computer upside the head?
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. What else you guys got? Anything else?
I've got another really strange story, Tom. There was an employee, a newly hired employee. This young lady had applied for this position at a company. It's a plastics company. She was actually received the offer for the job, and went ahead and filled out all the paperwork with human resources. She turned in her notice for her, for her current employee, letting them know that she was she was leaving. And over the weekend, the Monday before she was to start the new job, the new manager at this company sent her a text message asking her a question as if she received the documentation from HR. She said she got the late Saturday night. She read Monday morning. So she said she was busy all day, going to church, several other things she had to do before she started her new job. And she said Sunday night, she received a message from the manager saying they were rescinding their offer because she had not responded in a timely manner to his text message. And she was like, what? How can that happen? So, I guess you have to be really careful and make sure you're responding timely if someone texts you, especially your manager, your new manager.
Yeah.
Y'all ever heard of such?
I never heard of such myself. So.
No.
Anyway.
It's a new day and time for sure.
Yeah, it is. All right. Anything else? Well, let's go to Sean. She's got a minute for us and see what she's got to say and got a minute. Sean, please come on in.
Good morning to everyone joining in with us. My name is Shantia Jones, and this is Got a Minute. Wow, it's December, and looking back through the year, I honestly can't begin to tell you where the year went. Seasons have changed, life has changed, and let's face it, sometimes change is hard. So, here are 5 ways to make change a little less painful. 1, shifting our mindset. 2, increasing our understanding. 3, clarify and reinforce our priorities. 4, give control. 5, give support. Enhance your awesome skills. Work on your current habits of your mind to approach change in a more neutral, open way, and therefore to be able to navigate all the changes that will arrive in this new era. Thank you all for joining in. My name is Shantia Jones, and this is Got a Minute.
Thank you, Sean. So let's go to our G list. Hollywood has the A list. Here on Tuesdays with Tom, we have the G list. Our G list guest today is Quincy Redmon. Quincy is the founder of Blankets and Socks. The Blanket and Sock Drive started 6 years ago. It is a mission that has been with Quincy for a lifetime. He says one day standing outside a Sheetz, Sheetz, I assume that's a store or something I'm not familiar with, in Harrisburg, Virginia, his life changed forever. He grew up homeless, living from shelter to shelter. On the day he was outside the sheets, he told his mom that he was cold and he was hungry. She let him know that they didn't have any money or a place to go. A man overheard and went in the store and came back out with a pack of cold hot dogs, and he gave them to Quincy. Quincy ate them, and at that moment, he made a promise to himself that he was going to give back. Years later, he was living out of his car. And while he was praying that day before heading into work, God put it on his heart to start that journey to give back. He said, I still needed to help myself, but I listened to God. I worked at the front desk of a gym. He said, I made a flyer simply saying, help donate blankets and socks. People started handing me blankets and socks, and it started to grow and grow. In year 5, I needed a U-Haul because they had so many donations. This is now a mission he will continue to do for the rest of his life. So let's bring Quincy on and have a discussion. Good morning, Quincy Redmon. How are you, man? Okay. Whoa, what was that?
We're having a lot of feedback.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know what that is. It's weird how we can have all these discussions beforehand, and then as soon as we start, something happens.
Right.
Yes. If you can hear us, Quincy, it's reverberating and you can't hear what you're saying clearly. And it's just like very static with a lot of feedback.
Let's see. Quincy, Sean says for you to exit out and come back in. Can you do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, we can hear you now.
Yeah, we heard you then. We'll let him work it out.
Yes.
That's quite admirable for Quincy to be in need himself.
Yes.
And being homeless, and then come up with this idea to gather blankets and socks for
Help
other
others.
people.
That is definitely admirable.
Is
that better?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I could hear you guys, but then I got on.
So Quincy, tell us about blankets and socks.
Yes, sir. So like you said, I was saying thank you for having me first and foremost. But it started when I was a kid. Like we said, we were outside in the sheets, and sheets are real big over here in Virginia and West Virginia and stuff like that. It was a day I'll never forget. We were standing outside, and I was real cold, and just hungry. And I told my mom, I was just like, I'm starving, and where can we go anywhere? She was like, we have nowhere to go or nothing like that. And like you said, the man overheard us, and I ate a pack of cold hot dogs that day, and I made a promise to myself and God that I would one day give back once I can. And that's fast forward years later. Um, I was going through a lot of depression in my life. I just got cut from the NFL. I was playing for the Miami Dolphins. I got injured. And then I'm trying to figure out where my life is going to go at this point. I am staying out of my car from time to time. And in a moment, I'm praying to God. And I said, God, I've always talked about giving back. And the way I'm feeling right now in life, how can I make somebody else's life easier? Or what can I do to give back in my own way? So I went inside of my job. I worked a front desk job at a One Life in Gainesville, Virginia. I typed up 100 flyers and I started handing out to people because I was like, what's the easiest way that I can make this happen for the homeless? And I was just like, everybody has a pair of socks or an old blanket that they could wash and give to me, because I wanted to make it like a non-expense thing at first, just because I was like, everybody has it. I don't even have right now to give a donation, but I'm gonna figure it out to give back. And it really took off. And like you said, last year was our biggest year to that point. We needed a U-Haul, and we even fed over 200 people. We clothed 200 people, and it was the best turnout ever. And this year we're doing a little different because I just had twins. And so this year I couldn't do a lot of
Congratulations.
traveling. Thank you. And I couldn't do a lot of traveling this year. So I set up a website, redsblanket.and sockdrive.com, and took a lot of money donations, just so I could go out and buy it the night before and then head down to DC, get the U-Haul, everything like that. And so we can still make it happen. Because this year was one of my first years. I was even praying. I was like, I don't know how we're going to really do it because of the babies and the devil trying to get in my ear, like maybe this year take it easy. And then I was just like, nah, we're going to make it happen. We'll start a website and we'll make it happen. And the donations have poured in, and it's been such a blessing. And this year will be our best year to this point. So, and this is something I will do for the rest of my life, and I will get my babies involved, and it will be something we live out forever because I will never
Why,
stop helping people.
why do you think people have responded so eagerly?
Honestly and truthfully, because I've stayed so consistent, even if it was even during COVID, when COVID happened, I stayed consistent. I was just like, if you guys leave it at the doorstep or something like that, I made a way to figure it out. And people have seen that over the years. They're like, he's dedicated to making this happen. And it's the amount of people reaching out saying, hey, when is the blanket and sock drive, so we can either have a donation ready, or what's your address, we can send you something. And it's something they look forward to because it's something I've always said, get outside yourself as a human. Like, not everybody is this mean person this world perceives everybody to be. There's some hope in humanity, and it's just like, to me, people can be mean all year round, but if it takes somebody like myself to give back, and they want to give back in their own way without saying nothing, that's somebody getting outside their self as a human. And it's just, people look forward to this because they're also giving back. And I couldn't do it without all the donations. I couldn't do it without all the help from everybody that is part of this. And it's like it's a team effort. Little do they know, I just put it together and make it happen. I stay consistent, and I think that's the biggest thing right there, and most important thing is staying consistent and really showing them.
I think that's good advice, and I agree with you. I think the more consistency you have, more chances you have for success. Barbara, you got a question for Quincy?
I do. Quincy, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and
Yes,
thank you
man.
for your hard work that you put into this program. How do you get volunteers to join you, and how many volunteers do you need?
Honestly and truthfully, I do it by myself. I personally go hand out everything. I do, people reach out, but a lot of people are all talk. It's just something comes up that day or something like this. So I don't really count on nobody. I count on myself, and it's just I want people to come help. I open my arms for people to come help. That's why I give the time, the destination. If you want to come, you can come. Even if you didn't want to hand the stuff out, you could just at least be around the atmosphere. And so, but honestly and truthfully, people will reach out and just never show up, stuff like that. So it's like, when it comes to volunteers, I would love it because it is very hectic.
Right.
200 homeless people crowded around you, and you have clothes and food and blankets and socks. It's pretty hectic out there, honestly and truthfully.
Yes.
You guys stand firm in there because it is a different atmosphere. It is. And I understand for some people it's a little harder to actually be in the mix with it, because I go into the mix of the tents. I go into the mix of the people and actually talk to them. I give back. I feel it all. And so it's just, some people don't want that. And then others, it's germs, this and that. So it's like, I count on myself, and I'm my own volunteer, but I love for people to help. That's like, so it's like, that's why I said, give the time, date. If you want to show up, please show up. I want you to feel what I'm feeling too. But if you don't, I understand. I'm going to make it happen.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Michael?
Um, Quincy, thanks for being here. And
Yes,
like I
sir.
said earlier, this is quite admirable what you're doing. First of all, I'm not familiar with a sheets. Tell me what a sheets is.
And so y'all were talking about Bucky's. It's not that big, but Sheets is a bigger gas station, honestly and truthfully. It's red. Like if you ever stop by one, get some good coffee there. They got good cheap gas too, so it works out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now we've been uh, properly given an
School.
education on what that
Yes.
is. I
Right.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Um, you were saying that you grew up homeless and what have you, and but you made it to the NFL and had an opportunity to try out for the Miami
Yeah.
Dolphins. How did you overcome such humble beginnings to get there? How tell us about that journey.
Oh, okay. So this is a story in itself. I so growing up, was in and out of the shelter, and then we finally got our life together, or got on our feet in Salisbury, Maryland. And that's where I started my journey to play football. At the age of 9, I hit somebody and woke up in a helicopter. I was partially paralyzed from the waist down and
Wow.
had to learn how to walk and talk again. And that's where my faith really grew in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, because a year later I was walking and talking again and back to playing sports. And we'll fast forward a little bit from that. After that, I started playing. I'm getting a lot of I'm getting noticed by colleges and stuff like that. Even my ninth grade year, I'm playing basketball. I'm a basketball player, and I pass out during a game, and they thought I had an enlarged heart, like a sports heart. So a doctor in West Virginia tried to give me a pacemaker, and then we were like, "No, we can't do that." So we go to West Virginia, and come to find out, I just have a little heart defect, which gives me a marathon runner's heart. So I got cleared to play again. Fast forward to my junior year, I'm running up and down the basketball court. I do a routine layup, and at half court, half of my kneecap broke off. And it was
Dang.
because when I was paralyzed, my leg never really healed right. And I had a huge chip off in my kneecap, and the rest kind of just went. So I went from a 200-pound basketball player, baseball player, to a 300-pound football player. So
Mm.
I gained 100 pounds that year, and then I end up walking on to West Virginia. um, and like I said, it was basketball, baseball, then football. But I decided to walk on to West Virginia because I gained so much weight. I was 300 pounds, 6'5", and I'm like, I never had this much weight on me in my life. So that's why I decided to walk on. And then I left West Virginia, and then I walked on to Fairmont State, end up earning a scholarship there. And then fast forward a little bit, my senior year, my best friend, he passed away. It was my grandfather. I get a call right before it was 2 days before our first game of the season. He passed away. And then I was going through it again. And then opening kickoff, we didn't even return the ball, but I saw the first guy I could, and I blasted him, and it ended up separating my shoulder. And I was an NFL prospect the year before. I was All American, first team, everything. And then on the opening kickoff, I separated my shoulder. And
Mm.
my D2, I was so playing D2. You guys know how hard it is to make it to the next level. I'm
Yes.
like, okay, there goes that. Like, there's no way I'm gonna make it. And then so I come back 2 games later. I start playing. I'm only 70, 80% my senior year, and then we're playing our rival Shepherd. Um, and my cleat got caught in the turf, and I end up tearing my MCL.
Dang.
And so I'm like, God, I don't know what's going on here. Like, I want to play ball. Like, I thought this was my mission in life, and I end up getting a call from the Miami Dolphins, and I end up making it through preseason. And like I said, I got injured again. So injury's been something um, that happened. But now, fast forward into this, like now I know exactly where I'm supposed to be in life, and that is a father and a husband. So it's been a wild ride and a humbling experience, but my mindset has always been like, what are we going to do about this, God? Like, what can I do? Like, how can I create an environment for myself that I know how to always stay strong, always how to turn on a drop of a dime and never look back and just keep, because I know he's written our story already. We just got to walk it out. So I try to figure that out in life. And being alone a lot of time in life, you got to get a grasp on yourself and who you are as a person. And it's like, finally, about to turn 31, and it took a long time, but I finally know who I am as a man and what God wants me to do, and I'll never look back.
Well, sounds like you ought to be writing a book.
I know. I was going to say that
Hey,
sounds like a book and a movie.
nah, it says I
Fascinating
wear a
story.
shirt that says "Write your own story, then tell it," and it's not finished yet because
Yeah.
there will be more to come, and it's only the beginning of life, and I'm not stopping, and I want to tell every little boy and girl out there, like, no matter what you come from or how it looks, you bank on yourself and you give it all to the man above, and he'll take care of the rest. But you better make sure you're ready for what you ask for. I know that much.
Right.
How old
Yeah.
are the twins?
And they are 5 months, and then I have a 6-year-old, Adalia. So we have 3 girls.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm gonna stay in the weight room forever.
Good for you, man.
Thank you.
Barbara, Michael.
Yeah. Quincy, you talked about, I think you said going to DC to make the distributions. Is that where you go every year to the same spot every time? And do people look forward to you coming every year?
Yes, McPherson Square in DC. No rhyme or reason at all. I just picked there. It was I know the city has moved out the tents from there because it used to be what you call Tent City there too. There was Tent City under the bridge, but then in the park they went to the park and then they moved everybody out. But that's where they still go and meet. And for the last few years, I've seen the same people. And one year there was even kids there. So it's like I made it. That's where I will always go. And to eventually, once it gets bigger, we start traveling to other states with this, because if it grows like I want it to grow, I want to start like really making this an even bigger thing for other states. But always go to DC and McPherson Square. That'll always be our home. But I want to definitely expand to start traveling to other states and doing it too.
That was going to be my next question. Where next? Where are you going next?
Yes. So it's just growing and growing, and that then we'll need the volunteers, because there ain't no way I'm going to
Right.
another state by myself. I ain't goofy, but yeah, eventually that's where I want to make it. And like I said, I will have my kids involved eventually in life once they're old enough to really understand. 'Cause I think that's
Right.
important. No matter what you have in life, you guys see some humbling experiences, because it's like, if you do this, this is what can happen if you don't get your act right. So it's something that I will install in my kids as well. Like, we will give back no matter what we have. Like, that's what it's all about.
And you mentioned also that you first started, with the flyers, you putting flyers on windshield of cars and collecting the actual socks and blankets. But this year,
Mm,
because you had the babies and you're not
mm.
able to travel and pick up the donations, you're doing something different. So tell us what you're doing this year for as collecting donations.
Yes, ma'am. So this year we created a website. It's redsblanketandsockdrive.com. And you can go through there and just kind of read about the experiences that we've had. And then you click on the link, and there's a donate button or give now. And then all the donations and proceeds go towards everything. Just like if you guys gave the blankets and socks, we are going out and buy everything this year. Just like you said, just because of the twins, it was kind of hard to travel. So you go to the website and you donate any dollar amount. It doesn't matter. It's all going to a great cause, and I can't do it without you. And the people that I'm doing it for couldn't do it without you. So that was our alternate route this year, was creating that website, and the donations pouring in are, they're directly from God, honestly and truthfully. I couldn't do it without everybody every year, honestly. Like, it's just been such a great turnout every year, and I seriously, from the bottom of my heart, thank everybody who donates.
Michael?
Well, Quincy, tell me about your operation. Is this something you do full time? So you like once this drive is over and it's distributed, then you start planning for the next year, like a lot of nonprofits do, or do you have another career that you work along with this?
Yeah, so I honestly and truthfully, I do this. I how my always my thought process on November. So I'm doing it the 14th. I did it November 4th or November 14th was my first video. I do it in a month increment just because it creates some urgency for people to like they look forward to it. It's here. It's their time to give back. Other than saying, "Hey guys, it's coming up here, here, and here," people will put it off. I do a month time to where people can really flood it everything in because it's like, okay, I see it, they can do it. I'm actually a contractor. I work. You and you guys are talking about the insurance companies. That's what I do. I work for the people, and I get the insurance companies to pay for roof and siding because of damages and stuff like that. So that's where my main job is. But with this, I start planning this probably. Um, September, October, and then November, I'm making the video and having my plan of action. But honestly and truthfully, how big it is this year, it will have to probably move up more like of planning because just going to buy everything and this and that it's going to be amazing this year. So I will plan every year probably more uh, earlier a little bit, but I will always probably do it with that month of getting it in, just because, like I said, urgency and people are actually they're waiting for it. They're reaching out to me before I'm even putting videos. So, and once it's out, that's what really helps me.
Okay.
Tell us
All right.
about the video.
Which video?
You said you do video. Tell us about
Oh
the
yeah,
video.
no. So it's just like this. I'll get up on there. I'll get up on the camera, and then I will just say, just for an example, like we were just talking about, I couldn't do it without you guys. There's only
Okay.
2 weeks left, and here's Red's blanket and sock drive. Please help donate. I can't do it without you. And I'll post a video every week, just reminding everybody. And I put up my flyer on my story, so I know I'm getting on some people's nerves, but it, it helps because more and more people are reaching out, and so I'm very consistent, and I stay on top of it. I stay on top of it during the month of November, leading up until the blanket and sock drive. I stay very consistent.
Are
Yeah.
you red?
Yes. So I
Okay.
got the name. So the red came from my last name is Redmond. And
Uh,
at the Dolphins, there was about 9 different Qs. So the coach would go Q. About 9 of us would go running like little rats, like who's calling us? And the coach would be like, "Not you." So that's when the guys start calling me Red. So that's when I went by Red.
okay.
Okay.
What position did you play?
I was a defensive end linebacker.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Barbara, Michael?
Quincy, you mentioned going out and doing the shopping the day before, the night before
Yeah.
you actually go to for the distribution. You go
Mhm.
to location to get all their supplies, or you is it various stores you shop at, or how or you work out something with the management at the stores? How do you do that?
No, I've honestly tried that, and just some people are just so different about that. Like, I'll ask, "Can I buy it in bulk, please?" And they're like, "No, we don't do it like that." I'm like, "But
Oh wow.
can we?" You know, so it's like they make it a little bit frustrating. So what
Right.
I will do with the planning, I go to different stores. Me and Morgan, we'll go to different stores and see what they have, and then that's
Right.
what we use our plan of attack. Like from there,
Okay.
like we'll see what
Okay.
stores have what, and then that's what stores we'll go to. Just not going to Walmart, Target like that just the day before, and we're just hoping for the best. Now
Right.
we map out kind of the city to see what has what. We did the
Okay.
cost and stuff like that, broke it down.
Right.
So yeah, this year is a little bit more, but I'm glad I have her to help me with all that because I'm ADHD and my I'm everywhere, but she keeps me in line.
And with the distribution, you go into the park there. If people come up and they say they want 5 blankets, how do you determine who gets what?
So I've learned to put them in a line. They put their self like somebody out there is doing good for others. they kind of fall in line with one another and like respect them if y'all want this to keep happening type of deal. So I
Okay.
line them up down the block, and I'll set up different stations, and
Okay.
I let them. I'm like, you, you're very respectful to them. Like, hey, like everybody has to get something. You talk to them. You know what I mean? And that's what
Right.
they respect that too. Like, if there's more, just go back in line and come back through. We don't let just somebody just grab and keep it moving.
Okay.
You got to
Right.
keep the order because you will get ran over. And I found that out
Right.
my first year. Like, I got bam, like I got ran over by them because it was so overwhelming. But you
Right.
guys put some authority, like give them structure, and they follow suit for real. Like
Okay. Great.
yeah, they'll fall in line for you, and then they'll pick out something, and a lot of them do get back in line. But the great thing about McPherson Square, there's so many other people giving back, like around the park. It's a big square, so at
Mm-hmm.
each really part of the square, you have a food truck down there giving away food, or you have somebody singing, giving the gospel with hot chocolate right there. You have mine right here. And you never really coordinate with anybody, but it seems
Right.
like a lot of the people in the community know where to go, where all the homeless people really are. And then so it's like that the weekends of December, I've been on different parts of December. It's always
Mm-hmm.
busy, and there's a lot of people giving back. So DC is a great community of giving back to people. I don't know if these people come from out of state. I'd never really interact with the other folks giving back because there's so much going on, but it
Right.
is a great thing going on out there.
That's awesome.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. You said you have three girls. So which
Yeah.
one is the daddy's girl?
Dude, Adalia, my 6 year old, she's definitely daddy's girl. But Tatum and Ellie. Tatum, she came out 3 minutes before Ellie, and Tatum sticks with me, and Ellie ain't going nowhere. She's with mommy all the time. She if she don't see mommy, she's going nuts. So, but Tatum can be with me for like 10 minutes, and she's daddy's girl.
A lot of times, people look down on homeless people. Um, don't treat them with a whole lot of respect. And it sounds like you've got a different take on that.
Mhm. Yes, sir. It's just respect. Like a lot of those folks too, they'll say you made my day for just talking to me. Like I haven't had a real conversation in 3 years. Like with they they'll say with the average person, and I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, all we do is talk as a community. Like all we have is each other. Nobody actually takes the time to look me in my eyes as a man or a woman and actually have a conversation with me. So it's like part of that day is like after I'm done giving out, I stay out there a few extra hours just to have a conversation with them. Like it's not just done and over with because that day I live in the moment. I really want to not think about all my problems I'm going on in life and stuff like that. And I meant that. It's like I want to be in their world. I want to talk to them. I want to let them know like there are people that care about y'all. Like I will stand by myself if I have to do that. But it's like just having a conversation with them means more to them sometimes than the blanket and socks, just because nobody does talk to them.
That's interesting. That's great. Barbara, Michael, anybody else got anything? Quincy,
Well,
is
the
there
only
anything? Go ahead.
I just wanted to commend you again on your efforts and what you're doing. It sounds like this is going to kind of morph into something even bigger.
Yes.
And quite honestly, you could possibly maybe get some type of federal support or grants. Do you
Yes.
have a nonprofit? Have you created a nonprofit for socks and blankets, or blankets and socks, rather?
Honestly and truthfully, no. I don't even have the education behind it. I know I need to because of how big it is getting, and that's something I want to do. But it's just and last year was seriously so big that it was like, okay, it's like time to start doing this. Like you want to start doing that, like get it into a nonprofit, and that is my mission by next year to have it as a nonprofit. And that's something I have in 2025 on my goal sheet to do. Like it's time to solidify that. But honestly and truthfully, but years before it was just like collecting, going out and doing it. But the amount of support and efforts from everybody, it's like it's time to do that, which is a great thing. How big it's become. So that is
Yeah.
next for 2025.
Quincy,
I
I'd
was,
like for you to make us a promise that once you
Yes, sir.
get this thing in the nonprofit realm, that you'll come back and tell us about it, and we'll celebrate that and all the progress that you're making.
Yes.
It's a promise. Yes, sir.
Hey, thank you, man.
Yeah,
Thank
of
you,
course.
Quincy.
Michael, you guys okay?
yeah.
Yes, thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Quincy, thank you so much, man. We appreciate you, and we wish you a good holiday, and take care of those little girls. So,
Hey, thank you guys so much.
okay. All righty.
Thank you, man.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Okay, my closing comment, or for today, or as I see it, we are now officially into the holiday season, and I'm excited. I'm always excited about the holidays. The holidays was always a time of excitement around our home. As an adult, I've managed to continue that tradition, so I hope you had a great Thanksgiving and your upcoming Christmas holidays are spectacular. And then, of course, there's the upcoming New Year with all of its promise, its goals, its resolutions. But before we get ahead of ourselves, we here at TWT, we want to wish you all a great month of December filled with lots of love, peace, and blessings. And that's our show for today. We want to thank the audience. We appreciate you. Thank our G-list guest, Quincy Redmon. Quincy, you were great, man. We wish you all the luck with your program, blankets and socks. Thank our sponsor, Best Girl Inc. Thanks again to the TWT team. We've got a great team. Thank you all, Barbara, Sean, Emily, Michael, and Joyce. And that's it for this December the 3rd. Remember, a day without a smile is a day wasted. If you've got an extra one, give one to someone else today. How about giving one maybe to a homeless person who may need it? Enjoy yourself. Make every day count. Stay safe. Peace.